losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe.
Guys, how's it going? It's the East Bay Anglers. Today I want to talk about something a bit different. I want to talk about how to modify, how to change out, how to customize spoons. Some of the things that I do to my spoons and have done to my spoons in the past to try to make them different from everybody else's, to try to give me different looks, different profiles. Right here is going to be what you need to get started right away. You're going to need split ring pliers. I have a smaller pair and I have a larger pair for different applications. I've got needle nose pliers, I've got some wire cutters, I've got a nice pair of craft scissors as well. Guys, so you're going to need to get some thread. I personally have some nylon thread here in transparent green, and I'm also a big fan of this 2x strength craft silver thread right here. And I've also got some ultra thin wire, which is also in silver. And I'll show you what you can use those for, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Going, guys, one of my favorite modifications you can make to a Kastmaster spoon is going to be adding feathers, some kind of feather. I'm a big fan of the marabou blood quill in 1/4 ounce strung pieces. That really, that's what we have going, guys. One of my favorite modifications you can make to a Kastmaster spoon is going to be adding feathers, some kind of feather. I'm a big fan of the marabou blood quill in 1/4 ounce strung pieces. That really, that's what we have. So here's a close-up, guys. If you guys can see that tie job. And this is going to last a long time. So adding these feathers to these spoons can really be the difference between catching and not catching. It's one of those subtle things you can try. So changing up your spoon like this is going to give those fish a new look. If you've already conditioned those fish and they've been throwing the same kind of Kastmaster over and over. So here we have a piece where I have the full feather. Here's an older one that I've fished for a while right here. This one's dirty, and I've cut this one off to be a bit shorter. So this modification only takes a few minutes, and it's extremely beneficial. Certain times, I don't know what it is, the fish just go crazy for that feathered tail. Now next we're looking at another 1/2 ounce Kastmaster, and this particular Kastmaster, there's a tail, a curly tail right at the end of it. So what I like to do to modify my larger Kastmasters, usually 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, and 1 ounce, is I add this little curly tail. And you're probably wondering, well, where'd that curly tail come from? Well, here's a closer look at that curly tail. And here are some robo worms. And let me show you guys how I like to cut this tail. See right here where the tail gets flat, and then it starts to thicken right here at the end. How's it going? It's the East Bay Anglers. Today I want to talk about something a bit different. I want to talk about how to modify, right there, just where it starts to go from that pure chartreuse to a little bit of spoons. So one of the reasons I cut it there is, I do, if you look, my spoons and have done to my spoons in the past, perfect curl, and you can thread that on. Nose hook this top, give me different thread looks, that on right there. Profiles. It's right here really free. What you need to get it's got a lot of action. You're going to need split ring pliers. It displaces a lot of water, and I have a larger. I can't tell you guys enough for different applications. I've got needle nose pliers, I've got some.
All right, guys. So one of the
wire
other ways I like to
cutters.
modify my
I've
spoons,
got
my Kastmasters,
a nice pair
is I like to
of
put a
craft
single
scissors
hook on
as
there.
well, guys. So you're gonna need to get some thread.
And I also like to put this
personally have some
really small
nylon thread
Indiana
here in
blade
transparent
right
green.
Okay, so having this little blade right here, this
a
little
big fan
Indiana
of
blade,
this
what that's going to do is that's going to change the action of the bait. And it's going to, you guys can modify your
right
Kastmasters, your spoons.
And I've also got some ultra thin wire, which is also.
All right, now I want to talk about,
and I'll show you what
something
you can use
that
those
we were
for,
talking about
and
earlier.
We'll talk about
bait
that
fish
in a few
emulator
minutes.
flash.
Stay tuned.
And
Guys,
that's
so
what this
you're
is.
need
And
to
I've
get some thread.
hand tied
I
it
personally
with
have some nylon
silver
thread,
thread
here in transparent green,
that
and I'm also
I showed you guys earlier
a big fan
in the
of this
video. I've got it in 2 colors. I've got it in coral bait fish and
silver
olive
thread
bait
right
fish.
here.
So let me give you guys.
I've also got some ultra thin
give
wire,
you guys a look
which
at these.
is also in silver, and I'll show you what you can
That's
use
what the
those
lures
for,
look like.
and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
And it's made by Hairline Dubbin. I bought it at Bass Pro Shops. This stuff's really cool, guys. These are my 2 favorite colors, and that's pearl baitfish and olive green baitfish, and they're just, this baitfish emulator flash is really cool, guys. It allows you to customize your hooks, your spoons, and it allows you to really get, you know, creative with all the different colors and all the different patterns that you can choose. So that's another one of my favorite ways to modify Kastmaster spoons. Alright guys, so here's another way I like to modify my Kastmasters. I like to take an old worm that's laying around the house. Take the tail of that worm. I like to do this on larger Kastmasters, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread, I'm going to nose hook that bait. Just like so. It's gonna have that little tail right there, and that's really that's something I've been doing for a few years. I've been playing around with all different kinds of ways I can modify this spoon, guys. So this is just another way to modify your spoons. I generally use worms between 4 and 6 inches in length, nothing larger than that. It's got. We're going to go ahead, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to another way to modify your spoons, your Kastmasters. Alright guys, let's talk about another way you can modify those spoons, those Kastmasters, and that's by getting yourself a hold of some Sharpies. Certain colors I prefer more than others. But in general, these really allow you to quickly alter those baits, the colors, the patterns. Just another way that you guys can customize your Kastmasters. So here's another one of my favorite modifications. I go ahead and I use these split tails from Zoom. Now, these are split tail trailers, and they generally go on the back of a spinnerbait. At least that's what I use them for. So it's really simple. You're just going to cut those split tail, twin tail trailers by Zoom. These modifications are really gonna so give it a try. If you got any of these at the house, they're selling them at Walmart. They sell them at all the, you know, most places have these split tail, twin tail trailers for spinner baits. They come in really awesome colors, fluorescent colors like orange and chartreuse and pearl. So those are extremely good all-around colors to add as trailers to the backs of these spoons and Kastmasters. Just gives them like that, you know. So the action's going to be the same pretty much, except there's going to be this, you know, little thing flying around. Okay. So thanks for All right, guys. So thanks for thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys learned something. Stay tuned for more. All right, so now we're going to talk about what we were just saying. A Berkeley power worm, a 3-inch Berkeley power worm, or I'm really a big fan of the Berkeley mice tails. Here's a good look. And they're 3 inches. I pinch them in half, and I use the lower half, and I thread that on the back treble of that spoon or that Kastmaster, and it'll look just like this. It's got really good action, and I've caught fish doing it like this. So these are fairly inexpensive. They come in a variety of colors. It really gives you a lot of options. Personally done pretty well on this little rig. I tend to catch more bigger average size. One of the other ways I really like to modify a Kastmaster is I like to custom paint it. So if you look at one side of this blade, it's kind of like a natural green. It's got some brown in there. It's a natural color, and I've custom painted that with Testor's model enamel paint. And throughout the years, I've been painting a lot of lead. I've found that the Testor's enamel paint is really, really durable. It'll stay on for a long time, but it is important to throw a lacquer on there, so you're going to need to get some lacquer. Testor's sells that. Just go ahead and you get some lacquer, you seal that lure, and that paint job will stay on there a long time. So another modification I like to do is I like to take larger Kastmasters, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce Kastmasters, and I like to change out the hooks on them. I like to change them out a few sizes down. Modified that hook by adding some baitfish emulator flash that I've hand cut and tied on there with some thread, some of that green nylon thread. Off a lot more flash, and that's what I like about fishing those larger Kastmasters. I like fishing from the bank with a large Kastmaster. Puts off a lot of flash, downsize with those hooks, and you're still going to hook up with those smaller. It's really an awesome rig, guys. It's an awesome setup, and I've caught a lot of fish doing it. I hope you guys give it a try. I like to modify my spoons is I like to take some power eggs. Now it doesn't matter if they're Berkeley or if they're gulp eggs, but it is important in my experience to use the chartreuse green, the spring green, or use the fluorescent orange. I haven't really had much success with any other power eggs on the back of my spoons on those trebles. I just thread the last egg. I thread one egg. So you're just going to take this right here, you're going to take this egg and you're going to barely nose hook it. Just barely going to nose hook it. And that's going to give that a lot of action, a lot of wiggle, what it should look like once you're done. So this is another way you can modify your Kastmasters, your spoons for rainbow trout. And it's kind of interesting. I've had some mixed results with this technique. I've had days where it works and days where it just absolutely won't catch anything. There are times when these fish are very particular with what they want. So always try new things, always switch up things. The next way I really like to modify my Kastmasters is I like to throw an underspin on them like this. If you guys take a good look, this little arm right here, this little spinner, this is a small Colorado blade. Well, what I really like about this is you get a lot more flash than you would with just the Kastmaster by itself. So if you're fishing in stained water or the water clarity is not the greatest in general, this can really allow your bait to, this helps your bait stand out, and that's pretty important in that water situation. So let's talk about some of the things that we can do with this arm. We can change out the spinners. So I can put it in a willow leaf blade, which each has a different purpose, and then I can throw some hammered willow leaf blades. I can go with silver, or this is all silver, but you can also go with gold plated blades. And you can change these blades out on top. And just remember, guys, the Colorado, this is a Colorado, and the Colorado is meant for displacing water. And if you use a willow leaf, the willow leaves are for flash. They're going to give you a lot of flash. And if you get an Indiana blade, it's going to give you a bit of both. So keep that in mind when you're choosing the kind of blade you want. Alright guys, so next, really quick, I just want to talk in general about modifying your spoons with some kind of an attractant, some kind of scent. In front of me we have some oils, we have some gels. I'm very fond of the gels. I'm not big on the oils. The oil-based scents and attractants generally kind of wear off a lot quicker. About 10 minutes or so it'll stay on the bait. Versus the gel, you can have it on there for about 40 to 45 minutes before that gel seems to really come off. So that's, you know, a big advantage using the gel versus the oil. Guys, so go ahead and give these attractants a try. My personal favorites for trout are anise, krill, and garlic. I'm also a big fan of the Smelly Jelly Pro Guide formula in the special mix. So try this if you haven't, guys. This is the difference. You know, if that fish comes all the way up and nips at the bait but doesn't really commit, a lot of times this makes that fish